Breaking news coming in. Congress puts rallies and gatherings on hold for 2 weeks in UP. Other states to ascertain the situation and take a call. That's the latest coming in at the moment. Congress party has put the rallies on hold in the state of Uttar Pradesh for the next 2 weeks in light of the rising cases of coronavirus, especially the Omicron variant as well. And we'll wait and watch to see if the other political parties follow suit, because this is the most responsible thing to do at this point of time with the number of cases that are surging of COVID in India. The Congress is calling off big rallies, and my colleague Supriya has got an exclusive reaction coming in from KC Venugopal. Listening.
Congress Party senior leader as well as General Secretary in charge of the organization, Mr. Venugopal. Mr. KC Venugopal, sir, first and foremost, the COVID cases have surged across the mark of 50,000 in last 24 hours. Experts are saying that the third wave is here. What is your take on it?
Exactly. We are all worrying about the situation. That the reports are coming that third wave is coming. Then cases are increasing day by day in a larger way. Therefore, that's a case of worry for everybody.
So we are also hearing that in many areas, especially in Uttar Pradesh, the news is coming that all the major big gatherings have been put on hold. Congress has taken a first step for keeping the COVID cases in mind and protection of people in mind, that no big gatherings will take place. You are the organizational secretary in charge. How the Congress party is preparing? Because we are seeing a lot of campaign going on.
Already UPCC, Uttar Pradesh Congress Committee, took a very welcome decision by putting hold on major rallies for 2 weeks. Definitely they will observe the situations. After that they will take a final call on that. Definitely Congress party is took an initiative. I think other parties will also follow the Congress party's step.
So what is the other preparation? Because last time we saw how Youth Congress work. Are there some other instructions that you have given to all the state units?
No, we already told the state unit to ascertain the situation in the respective states and take a call.
My final question, Mr. Gandhi has been speaking about the vaccination. You have been also raising the vaccination issue. What is the way ahead? Because one side, the cases are increasing. On the other side, boosters...
Everything has been delayed by the union government. That is why this happened. Now they are allowing so many vaccines. This could have been done earlier. That is why the shortage of vaccines is there everywhere. Now the vaccination to the children also started. Where is the vaccination? On one side, government is propagating that vaccination for everybody, but there is no stock. That's what actually government is responsible for.
Thank you for talking to us. Well, that was Mr. KC Venugopal speaking to us with journalist Pawan Kumar. Supriya Bhardwaj for India Today in Delhi.
Amid surge in India's COVID cases, the Congress is all set to call off big rallies. Congress seems to be the first party to take cognizance of the surging COVID cases. Congress party is all set to call off the big political rallies, the large gatherings and the marathons in poll-bound Uttar Pradesh. This is coming in after a stampede just yesterday at a rally in Bareilly, where a girl student was seen being trampled. The decision was taken after discussions with senior leaders of the Congress party and party General Secretary of UP, Priyanka Gandhi. The big announcement, however, comes even as Karnataka Congress Pradesh chief remained defiant, saying that he will not stop matches even if the state imposing COVID norms. He raised questions over rallies that union ministers and even Prime Minister continue to hold even as the cases are surging.
Election ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಇವರು ಬಹಿರಂಗ ಸಭೆ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಕಳಿಸಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಯಾವ ಸಭೆ ಅದು ಜನ ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಪ್ರೈಮ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ರ್ಯಾಲಿ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆಯವರೆಲ್ಲ ಸಭೆಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ನಾವು ನೀರಿಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಹೋರಾಟ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಜನತೆಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಹೋರಾಟ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಹಕ್ಕು ನಮ್ಮ ನೀರು ಸೊ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋರಾಟ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ ನಮಗೆ ಕೊರೋನಾ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ ಯಾರೇ ಏನೇ ಅಡಚಣೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಈ ಪಾದಯಾತ್ರೆ ನಡೀತದೆ.
Supriya Bhardwaj joins us from Delhi for more on this. Supriya, Congress party is the first political party who has taken this responsible step forward in saying that we will not hold any political rallies in the wake of the rising number of COVID cases. We're still awaiting an official confirmation coming in from other political parties whether they will follow suit or not.
Absolutely, yes, Chaiti. As far as Congress Party is concerned, we just spoke to Congress Party's General Secretary in charge, organization KC Venugopal, who has categorically said that the instructions have been given to all the state units to ascertain the situation in their state as far as COVID is concerned, and then take the next step. The first being Uttar Pradesh Congress, which has officially now, Venugopal has told us, that has put a hold on all the big rallies and public gatherings and town halls and samvads for next 2 weeks. That is, for 15 days, there will be no major big rallies and campaigns that will take place. When we asked him about other states, which include Uttarakhand as well as that of Punjab, he said that state governments have been given instructions that they have to ascertain the situation and then take a call as to how they are going to campaign in these challenging times when the COVID cases are surging. Also, what we are hearing from the Congress sources is that there is a strategy which is being right now forged, which is being made, wherein the party is seeing options as to how to go for campaign, in particular that of the digital rallies as well as that of the virtual public meetings and town halls. We are also hearing from the sources, Chaiti, that Congress Party has already told its state units and frontal organization that they have to start working on a plan as far as taking care of the surge in COVID cases is concerned, how to help the people for organizing medicines, masks, as well as other medical equipments which might be required because the cases are surging, and that's what the instructions have been given, that the state units have to prepare for the COVID tsunami, which many of the Congress Party leaders are saying, which is going to come. Youth Congress head Srinivasan only told us that Rahul Gandhi gave instructions some 3 days back that all the frontal organization and state units have to start preparation for the upcoming COVID situation. But as far as the rallies are concerned, Venugopal categorically said, and many in the Congress Party are saying that they have taken a step. Uttar Pradesh Congress Committee, headed by Priyanka Gandhi as its General Secretary in charge, has taken a step where they have put all the major big rallies on hold for next 15 days, and now other parties should also follow the same.
All right, thanks, Supriya, for joining us with the very latest details right there. The country has witnessed a massive spike in COVID cases ahead of poll season. Experts are warning of a third wave as political rallies witness a huge crowding. The EC will chalk out COVID protocol with chief electoral officers of the 5 poll-bound states today in a crucial meeting. The Commission is also looking at framing new guidelines for upcoming elections. Guidelines will be made by this week. The EC held an extensive meeting to discuss COVID preparedness in the poll-bound states on Tuesday. Discussion was held on ban on door-to-door campaigning, turning public rallies into virtual rallies, and banning campaigns was also discussed in the meeting.
सर, एक बड़ा डिबेट ये है कि आज अरविंद केजरीवाल पॉजिटिव हो गए हैं, उससे पहले कई नेता हैं, बाबुल सुप्रियो हैं, बाकी लोग हैं, और एक मांग हो रही है कि नाइट कर्फ्यूज लग रहे हैं, बाकी कर्ब्स लग रहे हैं, दिल्ली में भी कर्ब लग रहे हैं, तो जो इलेक्शन बाउंड स्टेट्स हैं उनमें किसी तरह का प्रतिबंध या पब्लिक रैलीज, पॉलिटिकल रैलीज पे ऐसा होना चाहिए, क्योंकि ये एक मास वायलेशन ऑफ कोविड।
ये स्टेट का विषय है और भारत सरकार की ओर से समय समय पर एडवाइजरी दी जाती है, उसके आधार पर अपने स्टेट की स्थिति को देखते हुए सब स्टेट डिसीजन करते हैं।
पर सर, एक टाइम पे केंद्र भी तो इस तरह की एडवाइजरी देते हैं।
नहीं, भारत सरकार ने समय समय पर एडवाइजरी दी ही है।
जिसको रोकना चाहिए वही उसको फैला रहा है। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी की रैलियां देख लीजिए, उत्तर प्रदेश के मुख्यमंत्री जी की रैलियां देख लीजिए, कहीं आपको जनता के बीच प्रिकॉशन के साथ कोई रैली नहीं हो रही। ऑफिस में बैठ के बोलेंगे ये प्रिकॉशन लीजिए, ये प्रिकॉशन लीजिए, और सामने वायलेशन कराएंगे। तो इस समय देश में अगर कोरोना फैलेगा, ओमिक्रॉन फैलेगा, तो उसकी सबसे बड़ी जिम्मेदारी भारतीय जनता पार्टी, प्रधानमंत्री जी की होगी।
India has over 2,100 Omicron cases, over 300 new Omicron cases in the last 24 hours itself. Here's the breakup of the Omicron cases in the country. A total of 2,135. Rajasthan is 174. Delhi 464 Omicron cases. Gujarat 154. Maharashtra the highest, 653 Omicron cases, and Kerala at 185. India's daily cases see 55% jump, over 58,000 new COVID cases reported in 24 hours in India amidst the looming threat of the highly transmissible Omicron variant. 534 people were reported dead in 24 hours across the country. India's positivity rate has surged over 4% mark. Daily positivity rate now stands at 4.18%. Maharashtra added most cases in 24 hours with 18,466 cases, followed by West Bengal with 9,073 new cases. The surge means that the curbs are back in most parts of the country. Delhi and Karnataka will begin weekend curfews from this week. In Delhi, Health Minister Satendra Jain said that capital reported approximately 10,000 cases in 24 hours. In Maharashtra, Health Minister said the state may see 25,000 cases and ruled out complete lockdown, adding that 90% of cases in Maharashtra are asymptomatic.
देश में तीसरी लहर और दिल्ली के अंदर पांचवी लहर बिल्कुल आ चुकी है। केसेस कल 5,500 के आसपास थे और आज 10,000 के आसपास जो शाम तक बुलेटिन है अभी कंपाइल किया जा रहा है डाटा, और पॉजिटिविटी 10% के आसपास आनी चाहिए।
In an India Today exclusive, top global health expert Christopher Murray has projected number of infections for peak wave, and India said that detected infections globally will reach 3 times of previous waves. Here's a look.
Been some predictions and the modeling studies based on which you say that there could be at least 3 billion infections in the next 2 months. That seems to be a big number, but what are your current projections for India that's already looking at a slow emergence of the third wave of coronavirus led by Omicron?
Well, because India had such a terrible Delta wave, that combined with vaccination efforts suggests that there's quite a bit of immunity in India that will provide some protection against Omicron. So what we expect to happen is lots and lots of Omicron infections, reaching a peak in the end of January or first week of February. The number of infections per day may get up as large as the Delta wave back in April and early May. But the big difference is that the Omicron is not going to cause the death and hospitalization that we saw before. And so the other thing about Omicron that's very different is a much larger fraction of people have no symptoms at all. So they may never get detected. So the official case data may not increase in India anywhere near what we saw with the Delta wave.
So, Doctor, essentially what you're saying is we could probably see the similar number of cases we saw in the second wave. India peaked at about 4 lakh cases during the Delta wave, but these were very severe infections as well. And you're saying that Omicron is not going to cause increase in hospitalizations and death, despite the fact that case numbers will be large?
Well, I think it's very important for people to recognize the difference between infection and an official case. With Delta, many of the infections got eventually detected and became a case in the official numbers. But with Omicron, with 90% of people having no symptoms at all, most of those people will never become an official case. And so there's going to be this very big distinction between true infections in the community and the number of cases that you pick up. And then even amongst the cases that get diagnosed, that get tested and get recorded, we know with Omicron that a smaller fraction will go to hospital than for Delta. And amongst those that go to hospital, a smaller fraction will end up needing the ICU or intubation. So putting all that together, we expect some increase in cases, some increase in hospitalizations and deaths, but dramatically less of a threat for India than the Delta.
All right. Now, if you test positive for COVID, how would you know which variant has really infected you? Traditional antigen and RT-PCR tests are unable to pick up the S gene dropout, which is a key indicator of Omicron. So for now, genome sequencing is the only way to detect the Omicron variant. The ICMR now has approved testing kits that will reduce the burden on genome sequencing. Milan Sharma with this report.
If you catch COVID, chances are you will not get to know which variant infected you. This is because genome sequencing is conducted on only 5% COVID positive samples. To ease the trouble and reduce the burden on genome sequencing, the Indian Council of Medical Research has validated a new kit, Omissure. It's a COVID test kit made by Tata Medical and Diagnostics Limited. This RT-PCR kit amplifies RNA in a virus to detect the genetic material. When the test detects the presence of other genes of the SARS-CoV-2 virus but fails to detect the S gene, it is considered indicative of Omicron infection. S gene dropout is a trait associated with Omicron.
It's very difficult to comment a patient who is COVID positive, whether it's an Omicron or something else, because we don't have that kit. It is something known as S gene target failure detecting kit. That is being imported by the government, and very soon it will be available as a dual PCR. At the first PCR, you detect it's a COVID. The second PCR, you detect that we are not able to detect S gene. So likely this may be Omicron. So need not to send a sample for gene testing and for the particular strain. So this is an indirect way to detect this is a Omicron or is it Delta or something else.
The ICMR has also created another COVID test kit, but it has failed to find interest among manufacturers. The only kit approved by the World Health Organization is TaqPath RT-PCR kit, made by US-based Thermo Fisher Scientific.
Fortunately, we did not have an Indian RT-PCR kit till now that could detect the Omicron variant. We had to depend on the imported TaqPath kit, which was made by Thermo Fisher of the United States of America. But ICMR, in association with Tata Medical Diagnostics, has now made the Omissure kit, which is made in India, and it will be able to detect the BA1 variant of Omicron by the SGTF or the SG targeted failure technology.
The Alpha or B117 variant 2 sees S gene dropout, but its circulation is low in India. When S gene is not detected in the virus, it is considered to be Omicron. But genomic sequencing may still not lose its relevance. The S gene dropout is not being detected in a variant of the Omicron lineage, BA2, which has seen further mutations.
Why is it important to know which variant you are infected with? So that you can move forward to an appropriate line of treatment. If it's Omicron, then monoclonal antibodies don't work on such people. And also after 5 days, you will turn asymptomatic. But if it's Delta, then it can cause COVID-induced pneumonia in the lungs, and you can need oxygen. Only an S gene failure target test will help determine which variant it is. With Pawan Kumar in New Delhi, Milan Sharma for India Today.
As COVID cases continue to rise in country and across the world, from John Abraham, Ekta Kapoor, Arjun Kapoor, here are all the stars who are under the COVID grip.
Coronavirus is spreading rapidly in the country and it's sparing no one. Not even our celebrities from both the film as well as the television industry. Scores of actors and actresses are testing positive in what's being referred to as the third wave. Veteran actor Prem Chopra and his wife Uma Chopra were admitted to Mumbai's Lilavati Hospital on 3rd January after testing positive for COVID-19. According to reports, the couple recuperated well after receiving the monoclonal antibody cocktail under the care of Dr. Jaleel Parker. Despite taking all the precautions, producer Ekta Kapoor also tested positive for COVID. Taking to her social media handle on January 3rd, Ekta informed everyone of her diagnosis and requested those who came in contact with her to get tested as well. बड़े अच्छे लगते हैं TV actor Nakul Mehta's wife and singer Janki Parekh penned an emotional note on social media after their 11-month-old son Sufi tested positive for COVID-19. She recalled her ordeal, revealing that his condition worsened so much so that he had to be admitted to the ICU while battling COVID. Janki and Sufi tested 2 weeks after Nakul tested positive for the virus. Actor John Abraham also revealed on social media that he and his wife Priya Runchal have tested positive for COVID after they came in contact with someone who they later learned was infected. After promoting her film Jersey in full swing in December, actor Mrinal Thakur kickstarted her new year on a not-so-happy note, as she too tested positive. She revealed her diagnosis days after the makers postponed the release of her film starring Shahid Kapoor, which was set to hit theatres on December 31st. Before Mrinal, actor and dancing diva Nora Fatehi, who was last seen opposite Guru Randhawa in his latest music video Dance Meri Rani, took to social media to pen a long note, informing her fans that she is battling COVID and has been hit really hard. Nora also mentioned that she was bedridden for a few days. Just before they could ring in 2022, COVID-19 played spoilsport for Rhea Kapoor and her husband Karan Bulani, and even brother-sister duo Arjun Kapoor and Anshula. They were also among those celebrities who tested positive for the virus and were isolated at home. Earlier in December, Kareena Kapoor, Amrita Arora and Sanjay Kapoor's wife, Mahib Kapoor, turned out to be positive for coronavirus after attending a get-together at filmmaker Karan Johar's residence, where Seema Khan was also unknowingly present with symptoms. Entertainment Bureau, India Today.
The Australian authorities are facing severe backlash after they gave exemption permission to world number one Novak Djokovic to travel to Melbourne for Australian Open. Djokovic, who has previously come under fire for being an anti-vaccinator, has been granted special permission to compete at the tournament. Here is what the controversy is all about.
Novak Djokovic is heading to Australia to defend his title at the Melbourne Park. The world number one will fly to Melbourne after receiving a medical exemption from the Australian authorities. Djokovic, who has always refused to reveal his COVID vaccination status, had previously said he was unsure whether he would compete at the Grand Slam due to concerns over Australia's quarantine rules. But in a post on Instagram, Djokovic wrote he's heading down under with an exemption permission. Netizens, however, were angry, especially Australians who questioned the authorities on the special treatment being given to Djokovic. The Serb faced heavy backlash on social media. Former Aussie tennis star Mark Philpossus hit out at both Djokovic and the Australian authorities, stating they can't make exceptions because he is the number one player in the world. Rules in Victoria state that players must be double vaccinated against COVID-19 or have a medical exemption granted by an independent panel of experts. And considering Djokovic pulled out of the ATP Cup in Sydney, his participation at this year's first Grand Slam was always in doubt. But the Australian Open authorities revealed the world number one was given the medical exemption following a rigorous review process that involved 2 independent panels of medical experts. And while Djokovic will be aiming for his record 21st Grand Slam later this month, there won't be many Australians who will be rooting for him. Sports Bureau, India Today.
Well, that's it from me, Chaiti Narula, on this bulletin, but leaving you with something very interesting. Panda Cub frolics in snow at the Smithsonian's National Zoo in Washington, D.C. We leave you with these adorable visuals. Take a look.